might have to turn the radio off.
Why?
Why?
So we'd like to welcome you to our new season 2 of our very fine podcast.
Welcome, welcome.
The original podcast was just something we came up with, and now we're waiting on news for our season 4 of the TV series.
But the podcast has really taken off, hasn't it? People like listening to it. We like doing it, and we want to keep doing it. This time we're looking at cars we might buy, but we might also look over cars that we can't buy because they're not for sale, and that's okay. We're lending an assessment or an opinion.
So if you're listening and you've got an interesting car, you probably know what we like, then get in touch.
We're also recording many of these episodes on video. Not quite a television show, but see what you think.
Shh, Gus, the podcast is starting.
Oh, is it now? Thank you for staying with us. I hope you like the cars we found. Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, so we're doing another podcast today, us two. This is going to be like Ant and Dec. You're going to have to stand on that side. That's how it's going to have to be.
This is going to be tricky.
We're on the road again. I was somebody offered a car and said, a friend of a friend, very kindly said, would you like to do my car on the podcast? And I leapt at it and said, yes, I'd love to, because I've always wanted one. And always thought I would own one. And I thought you'd find it interesting. I know you'll find it interesting.
I've got a question. So this is a friend's car that you've always wanted to own.
Yeah.
Is this a car that we're being offered to buy? Is this a car you want to buy for yourself?
No. It's an interesting car.
Okay.
And we can assess what we'd do with it. Why not? You know, if we would want it, what we would do with it if we had it, what we thought could be done with it, all those sort of things.
Yeah. I want to see the car, though.
Yes. So we're at our mate Sam's, at his workshop. This is Sam's just... Okay, I hadn't looked at the car undercover until now.
And I've just seen the car under the cover.
It is under a cover.
Yeah, it's plainly obvious what that is. This is a car with a completely undeniable silhouette. Yeah. I mean, shall I burst the bubble and say that's obviously a Porsche 911?
It's Porsche 911. Well done. Well done, you.
Oh, well done, Gus.
Okay, so the secret's out of the bag. Shall we just take the cover off?
Yeah, I'm going to start peeling back the cover here. It's a red Porsche 911.
I think this is called Guards Red. That's just in my mind. I don't know if that's true. In my mind, this is Guards Red.
Well, I'm going to go with you on that because I don't know.
I don't know
which
either.
model is it? This is looking to me...
yes.
Like it's from the 1980s. Like a Carrera.
This shape, which is SC, started in 75 to 82, I think.
This particular part that I'm looking at the moment, this giganticous whale tail.
I don't think this is a standard for an SC Targa, because this is a Targa. It's got the removable top.
And it's the SC. You know what the SC stands for?
SC?
Yeah.
No.
Super... Because Carrera, isn't it?
Yeah.
Super Carrera.
Oh, okay.
SC. It's simple.
Yeah.
I mean...
Simple Carrera.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone raves about 911s this and 911s that.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I always thought I would own one of these. And I always thought I'd own an SC because I just wanted an absolute base model SC. Okay. Because it did everything I wanted it to do. It had the 3-litre engine. You
were young in the 70s. And remember in the early 80s, that poster, you know that really, really popular poster?
Yes.
Of the Porsche, not the other popular poster from the early 1980s.
Of the woman on the tennis court.
Not that one. The one of the Porsche Carrera.
Yeah.
Well, that was what got me into them in the first place.
The interesting thing about these is that they've gone stratospheric price-wise, haven't they? So something like a bog standard SC, not necessarily a Targa. I don't know if they would be more or less expensive. I would assume a Targa would be less expensive than a standard hardtop. They went from being, within the last 10 years, maybe less than that even. They've gone from being something that was affordable for, 18, 20, 25 to something that's 40 for almost any, late 30s.
Most of them are double that now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Most of them are, which I find pleasing because I think this is the car that never really, I mean, it was always a great car, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And this was the one, this was a 3-litre engine, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was the one to have. I know later on they went up, didn't they go up to a 3.2 litre or something?
3.2 straight
Yeah.
after this, so this is
Yeah.
SC, yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's weird, because if you look at the shape of this, and like you were saying, oh, it could be an 80s car, but in actual fact, this shape and this design was being made from 1975. This is when SC came out.
Well, SC came out, but, you know, the original 911's like 1964, and that's not a million miles away from this.
No.
Even
No.
in the smaller details.
No, with the narrow ones are the same body shape, aren't they?
Yes, they are. It's an incredible car, and it's a very, very good-looking car, which I think has stood the test of time. I mean, what I like about this shape, what I particularly like about this one, is the fact that, because when I was young, this was a new car. So for me, I wasn't really interested in the 1960s versions.
No.
Because they were a bit too oldie-worldy.
Yeah,
And of course,
I get it.
nowadays, you know, chrome and bits and pieces like that really gets my heart throbbing.
Yeah.
But this looked modern.
Yeah.
You know, it looked really great. And these bumpers and these compressional bits here.
It was early, really early compression, wasn't it? For crumple testing at the front. It was
and the American, well, I don't know, was it the American market that sort of pushed
that drove
that?
it. There was different bumpers for the American market, definitely, but these
Huge
crumpling
rubber ones,
bumpers,
probably.
yeah, but these were proper attempt at crumple zone, weren't they?
Yeah.
The first.
And here we go. So attempt at crumple zone, which this does, but this actually states it in the styling of the car.
Yeah, with that. Yeah, exactly.
You know, concertina bit
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And I wonder if that was intentional.
I don't know. I often wonder whether, because they're so sort of Bauhaus, aren't they, form and function, with these sort of cars, you think, well, maybe that was just the way they did it. So that if it, does it move? I don't know.
Don't know.
I mean, it's not on a Ram, is it? It's,
No.
No.
I mean, the last time I worked on one of these, I think that's just a chunk of plastic.
I think it is, yeah.
Looks like that
Yeah.
rather than behaves like it looks.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. So all that time thinking that, I would own one, and then I spent a huge amount of time working on magazines, and in actual fact, a Porsche-based magazine for a very long time. And the older ones, the sort of 60s, the TEs and S's, you can get enough of them. Do you know what I mean? They're a thing, and they're great, and they're beautiful cars, but they're not quite modern enough. Whereas this is just modern enough, and it's analog. You know what I mean?
It's
not got all the sensors and it's all there. It's all. I mean, we'll have a look round it in a minute. But
this is still raw engineering.
Yes,
Yeah.
and German engineering at its best,
exactly.
I think.
Yeah.
It's
in
longevity.
the essence of simplicity.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and they have that longevity, like you say. The body shell is still the same. It's moved, but it's not moved a million miles from that. And I like that in engineering, like the Jag we were talking about.
It's just taken. You know, when these body shells came, that became this shape. There was that bit more flair in the arches.
Yes,
that was the main.
Yeah.
The main sort of aesthetic. The bumpers, obviously.
Yeah.
But in essence, the basic format of the body is almost exactly the same.
Yeah, and the engine, like you were saying, they went from 2.7 to 3 litres, and they went, and there was a reason for it.
Yeah.
It's a very, it's a very German thing, isn't it?
People wanted more. The autobahns got longer. Let's do it. I know I should have spotted this earlier, and it's just dawned on me. I think you did say Targa.
Targa.
This is the Targa top model, where the centre of the roof absolutely lifts out, so you feel like you're in a full-blown open-top sports car, but you've still got a load of the safety of a great big roll bar effectively.
And also you've still got the rigidity of the car, haven't you, without the extra weight.
Yeah.
But I always thought the Targa was the most romantic. I don't know why. As a kid, that's just what I thought, I love this stainless steel, I know this is painted black, but I love this stainless steel hoop. I love the rake of the windscreen. There's a lot that I like about a Targa. And I was told by my mate, if you were going to buy a 911, never buy a Targa because it's had the water running through it for all the years that it's had that
That is very, very true, because anything that doesn't have a complete roof will leak like a sieve. And I know that sounds really negative of me, but I've always been at the end of the market where I've been dealing with things that have been around for a very long time, and they've generally started leaking.
Yeah.
So, no, that is being harsh. But it's true because it's what I've seen.
Yeah, it's just the way it is, isn't it?
It is just the way it is.
You know, we always talk about commercial brakes in a rather jokey way because we don't have any commercials.
Well, do we not?
Should we have a commercial break?
We should have a commercial break.
Right, we're back in the game. Okay, I have pushed play, that's right. I'm multitasking, and how's that going? So we are back with our guards red. I think I'm going to say that. I'm not sure if that's right.
I'm going to say, let's go with it, guards red.
Yeah,
I mean, it
sounds
looks right,
good.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not pillar box red or post box red or,
No.
or even telephone box red.
No.
That is a nice bright red. It's blood red,
We're
isn't
back
it?
with our red, guards red, I'm saying, again. 911 Targa, it's an SC. We haven't said, but I think it's T-Reg, so I think it's 1978, isn't it? Yeah, 1978, with a massive well tail.
The time has come.
To get inside?
Well, to give it the general look over. I mean,
Okay.
let's not jump straight inside just yet. I want to...
Okay. So we do, you want to go around outside first?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to go inside, but okay.
Well, I mean...
No, we're outside.
Either way,
Let's
I know we
continue.
decided to go inside first, but...
No, it's good. That's good.
I've just spotted something on the wing.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, I've
this-
spotted a little bit of something this side.
This is looking at quality of car and imperfections. Now,
Okay, so maybe things that you could do to bring the value up if you wanted to.
yes, that's
Okay.
it. From that point of view, because this isn't our car. I know these front bumpers are aluminium.
Yes.
And with most aluminium things, you always suffer with that sort of corrosion, oxidization that comes from
Yeah.
within. So I'm looking
Yeah.
at where the water jets stick out to the front to wash the headlights.
Yeah, you can see a
You
bit
see
there.
that
can't
little
you?
bit there?
Yeah.
Just a bit of paint bubbling around there.
Is it this side as well? It is a little bit on this side, yeah. You
Yeah.
can see it a little bit.
I also know from experience of having to repair front wings on Porsche 911s, SCs in particular, they tend to rust out in the area around the headlights, on the
Yeah.
lower front section where it starts to stick out like a tongue,
Yeah.
and looping up around the outside. And I'm just sort of seeing here, sort of, you know, on the light itself, if you look at it from the front, what would be like 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's bubbling coming up there.
Yeah, I can see that.
below
And you
it,
can see it
just
there.
above the bumper.
The muck sticks in there, doesn't it, underneath?
It's a rust trap.
And I suspect this has been done before.
It could well have been. I mean, it's certainly old enough to have been done.
Yeah.
I've seen there's
Yeah.
evidence that the car has been repainted in the past.
Yeah.
Because there's some cod's eyes in the paintwork here.
Yeah, on the
as well.
bezels of the
Yeah.
lights, and there is a little bit of bubbling on the near side wing as well.
And I can see a slight run as well.
The trouble is, though, Will, that localised sort of fixing at this stage is quite destructive before it's productive, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to break an egg to make a cake.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you've got to time that, haven't you? You've got to get your timings right. You're the same. I'm a terrible one for living with something if it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. I mean, I'll live with it until it falls off.
So that's the other question, isn't it? The other
Yeah.
question is whether we are looking at this car. Because if I had this car, I'm
Yeah.
just saying now, it wouldn't be going anywhere. This would be my car, and I would not be selling it.
No.
Not
no.
unless something
I mean,
happened.
it'd be
but
going somewhere on a nice sunny day in the height of summer.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the rest of the time, I think I'd have to because, you know, it's quite muddy where I live.
Yeah, it
and I
is
can't
quite
afford
muddy.
to drive this up and down the track every single day because it
No.
would just look like all of the rest of my cars do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm trying to get to that balancing point between doing work to a car and leaving it and living with it and having the ability to live with it. And that's
Yeah.
something you have to sort of train yourself to do that, don't you? To live with the imperfections.
yeah, there's a funny little clunk coming from the front suspension on my van at the moment, which I don't think I can live with any longer.
You've got to assess them, see whether they're dangerous or not first. Yeah. But I do think that about the Mini, about that scratch down the side of the Mini. I don't even notice it. I get in the other side.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, who cares, really?
So what we're saying is there is something, isn't there? There's little bits and pieces.
I've just
but
spotted a tiny bit more on the scuttle.
Okay, well, these are all places that you would expect it on a 78 car.
They
aren't
are. That, however, looks like a spraying imperfection. When respray was done, it
Yeah.
looks like a sort of, you know, you get those what I call cod's eyes, but some
Yeah.
people call sort of silicon dents or...
Yeah,
you know, it's-
but they're where it hasn't taken properly. There's something
Yeah.
on the metal before the paint's
That's right,
been
and the
put
paint
onto
tries
it.
to pull away
from it, yeah.
You know, like when you're at school, you put crayon all over a piece of paper,
Yeah, and then paint it.
then watercolor, and it would separate and
Yeah.
not take.
The actual Targa itself is the original one, isn't it? And then there's a lot of space around it, isn't there? I would
Yeah.
say it's shrunk a little bit, hasn't
It's
it? The leatherette.
definitely shrunk and pulled on the edges where
Yeah.
the seams you'd ideally like them see them sitting flat and flush into the rest of the bodywork.
Yeah, it's pulled, hasn't it?
This is done
Yeah.
what you'd expect, you know, of a piece of vinyl over, how old's this car, 45 years old?
Yeah,
46 years old?
So 84 would be 40, wouldn't it? No, 85 would be 40.
Yeah.
So 45, 46, 47 years old.
47 years old.
Wow.
This car's in spanking condition for
It's
that.
an amazing condition for that.
it really
And
is.
also, let's not forget, that's a gully under there. That's not sealing this, is it? It's not
it's-
sealing the Targa.
No.
We're looking at the line across the back that goes onto the stainless steel hoop. So so it's pulled. The vinyl has shrunk a bit, and the seam has pulled up, so it looks like a tiny centimetre aerofoil, doesn't it?
I wonder if that makes a little whistling noise as you're driving along.
Well, I wonder if it helps the handling.
Well, it might do. It's going to be giving downforce, isn't it? Oh, hold on. Downforce.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, look at that.
What we didn't say, actually, is that it's got a whale tail.
Big enough for an entire German family to get their towels out on next to the pool early in the morning and go sunbathing on.
But it was a thing, wasn't it? It was a thing in the 80s to put these on everything. And it was great, and then it was really, really uncool, wasn't it? But actually, now again...
Well, that uncoolness was still uncool until not that long ago, I reckon.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely think you're right.
It was recently.
It was considered... Because everyone was taking them off and putting the little ducktails on, weren't they?
But
I
or just
think
nothing at all.
I think it's glorious.
Well, I do now. I think views change over the years.
Of
My
course,
views change.
Yeah.
Yours do. Everybody else, like, constantly moulding around what's in fashion and what's not in fashion. And
definitely, yeah.
what's retro and not what's cool retro.
Yeah, exactly. What's cool retro. But I think that it's... You don't judge it against the chart of cool, do you? It's just what you feel at that time. And I would always not have it and not have any spoiler, like you were saying.
Oh, yeah.
Mine would be completely spoilers.
Pure.
I loved it. I love the shape. But also, this is just hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's just
it
a great
is.
thing.
I mean,
But if you think of it, when it had a purpose. It had the intercooler underneath it for the turbo, didn't it? It was a proper...
Is this one called a ducktail?
I think it's called a whale tail.
Whale tail.
Surely
there's a whale tail, yeah. I'm sure there's one called a ducktail on some cars.
Yeah, ducktails were the little RSs
and
RSRs.
those little,
the little
skinny little ones.
Yeah.
Like on a Trans Am.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah. That makes sense. I get it.
I think this is fiberglass, isn't it?
So
the fiberglass is obviously
a
a slightly different colour.
There's a tiny bit here in the grills. You can imagine these grills are quite weak.
Oh, yes.
And any enthusiastic behaviour, like putting your shopping on there, is going to do damage.
Yeah.
But then you're hardly ever going to be putting your shopping on the whale tail of the car because the boot's at the other end.
And then we go down to these this rather iconic 911 SC script, which I think is absolutely beautiful.
So space age.
Yeah.
That is the digital fonts from the space sci-fi movies that I watched when I was little.
Yeah.
And I know I haven't grown up mentally, but you know, when I was short.
And then that amazing rear end. It's so powerful, so purposeful.
Do you think it really keeps? I think, to me, that still keeps that sort of 1960s vibe. Is still there. Is still in that back end.
Yeah, but I look at that and I see cutting edge 70s as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's clever. It's clever design, isn't it?
It's nice.
I mean,
could you say timeless?
Well, I don't know. I suppose you
No,
could
not
do,
really.
Not really, is it?
Not really, but I suppose for something as iconic as this that has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
And this car's not always been the uber coolest, but it's always been right up there.
Listen, look, I'm presenting the car. You sit in the driver's seat.
Okay.
I think that's only fair.
That is only fair because it's a driver's seat that I think I need to unlock your side for you.
Yeah, you do.
There's a flappy handle here. Oh, you've got it.
No, it's got that cute little wheel to do the lock.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah, that's what that does.
That's what that does.
That's lovely, isn't it?
Crikey.
Right, so we're...
James has got shorter legs than me.
And we're in. You see?
Snug, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's all about that, isn't it? It's all about driving. The biggest thing you can see right in front of you is...
The clocks,
Yeah,
the rev counter.
The rev counter,
it's banged. It's an aftermarket steering wheel, so it's got a yellow mark on the centre of it.
To show when you're going straight.
Yeah,
straight
okay,
ahead.
so we have got, the rev counter straight in front.
Yep.
the, important things like
Other things.
over there, temperature, and it looks like Druck press. What's that? I haven't got my glasses on.
Druck. Oh, it's German, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
It's the duck press.
Duck press.
Yeah, press for ducks.
Press for ducks. Whack. And that's got to be oil pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Temperature, oil pressure, other things. And speedo this side, and it has got 118,000 miles on the clock.
Yeah.
Which is that probably, is that miles or... Does that say kph?
No,
I need my
it's
glasses
miles.
on,
It's
guys.
miles.
That's miles. Hold
Yeah.
on. Here we go. On go the glasses. Miles per hour. It's all in imperial, which is handy for us Brits.
These switches are fabulous. So I'm looking at the fog light switch, the heated rear window switch, the cigarette lighter switch. They are these massive,
ginormous, aren't they?
Very 70s, aren't they?
They are.
Almost sort of play school toy barn.
Well,
type.
it's almost primary colours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a block pump radio?
It
so
is.
very, very German.
Yeah.
That's nice. Oh, I've just remembered something. When I was pressing the clutch down.
Oh yes.
Well, they're not they're quadrant rather than pendant pedals.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have this weird feeling of like, as you push it down, because there was that big changeover. Like everything was quadrants.
Yeah.
Up
So
until-
hung from
pivot from below.
Below, yeah.
Yeah, rather than pivoting from above.
Yeah.
Hung from above. So it's this sort of completely different feel to it all, which some people argue is the purest of the pure, and that's how everything should be.
But I don't think it gets long. It doesn't take long to get into it.
No, it
Does it,
doesn't.
really?
No, but it's an instant reminder when you jump in and you'd forgotten.
Yeah.
And you press the clutch, it's like, oh, goes the other way.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it
yeah.
still goes down. It
Still does the same
works. Yeah. I mean, you can drive out of the garage without having to take a course. But it's like, oh, yeah, I remember. Everything's down below, just like in the Beatles. And it is a glorified Beetle, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is in one sense, or maybe in my mind it was, because I think by the time they got here, they were all about one thing. And I wanted to say about that. So I always had this thing about my favourite journeys that I'd ever have. And my favourite journey I've ever driven was driving an absolutely bog standard 911. I can't remember what mark it was now, probably a 996, from Italy, from just above Rome, back to Zuffenhausen, the factory, the Porsche factory.
I bet that was a lovely run.
But I left at 12 o'clock midnight. So I set my alarm, woke up, left at 12 o'clock midnight with all my stuff, and I just hammered back. And that's what this car does. That's what this car does so perfectly. That's what that dashboard is set up to do. It's just you, the car, and the feeling of those pedals. Everything about this, the combination of the clutch operation, the gear change, the feel of the steering. It's just about driving, isn't it?
Sat here stationary, I'm just I'm planted in this seat, which is, it's a folding seat, but it feels like a bucket seat. So I'm in it. I know I'm here.
Yeah.
The gear stick is exactly where I want it to be. I drive often with my arms quite straight.
Yeah,
I took the Mickey
got
out
a bit of the Sterling Moss.
Bit of a Sterling Moss about me. And the seat's probably a little bit too far was in this, but this feels comfortable.
Yeah.
I like this seating position.
It's purposeful, isn't it?
And isn't it so much better having the engine behind you?
Yeah.
Because the noise disappears somewhere else.
Yes, it's someone else's trouble.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just the other side of that firewall in front of me going, ah! It's gone.
Yeah. It's. I mean, even these, like the stalks, they're a real early learning centre, aren't they? That's what I was trying to say about these buttons earlier. They've got this rather childish but massively functional thing going on.
Yeah, it is
visually.
functional. It really is functional. So style-wise on the inside of this car, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice looking car.
Yeah.
But they haven't really pushed it over the top. It's not like a Ferrari where everything is crafted to the nth degree.
Because they know it doesn't have to be, don't they? It just has to be functional.
Form following function. Is that the right word?
That whole Bauhaus thing,
that one. Yeah. But just the light switch down here. It's a standard light switch from this sort of period. Pull out, two positions. So click, click, side lights, headlights. Big rubber edge on it. You're not going to get that wrong, are you?
Feels nice, doesn't it?
It does.
The
feel
weight
nice.
of the switch feels nice.
I don't think I should be touching that.
I don't think you should be touching because it's not our car, is it?
Car, is it? No, exactly.
Actually, the headline is a bit back.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I've taken a bit of a glance around as we got in. Condition-wise, it's pretty. I mean, it's top end of fare.
Yeah, I'd say so as well.
All bar everything above my head.
Yeah, the sun visors have blown, haven't they?
It does look like they need to spend a bit of time on an exercise bicycle. They're looking a bit saggy.
You're looking at me when you're saying that.
And this time, I wasn't looking at you. I was just acknowledging it with you. I was looking into your eyes in that sort of like, yeah, this is what I'm saying, Gus. That's quite funny, though.
James was saying, I was talking to him earlier, and he was saying that it had got up to sort of 100,000 miles. What's it done? Did you say 120?
118.
Oh, 118. He said it's got up to 100,000 miles and then just sat in a barn. So it's been dry stored. So he said underneath was absolutely amazing. I'm not sure how long he said it sat for, but it's like tens of years.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't look like a car that's been heavily restored.
No, although it has had paint, hasn't it?
Yes, it's had a full respray. I'm just looking at the inside of the door frame, you know, the door side of the door jamb, and I can just
see the overspray.
That's exactly what I'm looking at, that bit of dusting there. You can see when something's been, you know, had the full sort of, I don't know how to put it.
Refresh,
or restoration. Because sometimes a restoration can be so invasive it never makes it out the other side of it and is still okay. Sometimes a restoration, if not done in the right hands, can actually ruin a car.
But not only, especially with these, not only not done in the right hands, but not done at the right time period. If they were done, and a lot of them were late 80s, were done cheaply because they weren't.
Well, they weren't that valuable.
They weren't that valuable. So and we know, don't we, that's the sliding scale. If they're not worth a huge amount of money, no one's going to spend that money on them unless you want to keep it for yourself. I mean, we could talk about it now, couldn't we? Because I mean, it's been mad, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The rise of the
911, the whole thing over the years. Harking back to what you were saying a moment ago, when cars were getting refreshed, rejuvenated, restored, there's another R that goes with that.
Renovated.
Renovated, yeah. Because renovation is completely different to restoration.
Yes.
Restoration means completely restored back to its former glory, correct and original. Renovation literally means made to work and better.
Yeah.
The two words are often confused.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of these weren't they? A lot of these were done up quite badly. I'd say done up rather than...
Renovated. Yeah, renovated, resprayed, put back together. And when, ultimately, the value of the car was quite low, but what we have seen is that the value of these things has rocketed. It's been an exponential curve over like the last 10 years or so, I would imagine. I mean, I don't follow these cars, but you can sense it going on, can't you?
When the last time I was going to buy an SC, just a standard car, not a Targa, but a standard SC 78, and at that time it was 18,000.
Yeah.
And less than 3 months later, standard price had gone up. And I was asked if I wanted to buy it, and it was best part of 40. I mean, that's madness.
That's crazy. Yeah. And how recently was the 40 price?
I would say it was probably 6 years ago. Yeah. There was very little time between it, very little time. A year, I would say, at most. But a lot of people said that they were only getting to a place where they should have been in the first place. That's why it was exponential.
I think I've heard that before.
Because they were so underpriced. But you see them, I mean, there's always, with 911s, there's always the one that was cheaper. And SC was always, when I was looking at them, SC was always the affordable one. There was the 3 litre. And then the Targa was cheaper again, because obviously, like we said, it had water running through. If it hadn't been dry stored all that time.
Which this one obviously has. I mean, there's not a whiff of damp smell in here or feeling.
No, there's not.
Touching the carpet in this car is, I mean, it's also spotless. I know it's been driven here today. This car's appeared under the wheel arches. It's totally spotless.
It's very good, isn't it? It's very good. And it's very good in here with all the things that you would expect. They are now at a place, I think, where, you know, SCs are expensive cars now if you want an SC.
So let's assume, do we know how long's James had this car?
I think he's had it a year, I think.
So he's probably paid pretty strong money for it.
Yeah, he part exchanged the 996 for it as well.
Right, okay.
So-
and that must have been a very good one, or either that or he added some cash to it.
He added cash to it.
Yeah, good lad.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a keeper for him. And I think
so.
Well, surely there's a lot of sense in that, because maybe they haven't seen the top of their value yet. Maybe it's...
Oh, I don't think so, no.
And it's got a few bits and pieces it needs doing on it.
But that's only if you wanted to make it immaculate, isn't it?
Yeah, you can do Sunday afternoon bits of titivating.
Yeah, which would make a load of difference. New sun visors, headlining glued back in. We know a bit about that, don't we?
Sunday afternoon titivation rather than invasive surgery.
Yeah.
And you've got a fun car to drive.
A cool car to drive as well.
God, yeah, and in God red.
Yeah.
I really hope
I wonder if that's a thing.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, maybe
it isn't. Let us know.
But it is a great thing, isn't it?
It is. It's very, very nice. Look, Gus, we're sat in the car, and we know what we would do with this thing.
Yeah.
I know that I can see through that grill.
Yeah, come on, let's go and have a look.
Come on.
Okay, so we're going to get out. We're exiting. I just want to explain for those on the listening on the podcast. So the interior of the car is absolutely a classic Porsche. It is the high-backed, full. Well, it's vinyl. It's not leather, is it? But
there's. I think that the bases, the swabs are leather, but the sides seem to be feel like vinyl.
Yeah. And a black dash. I mean, it's just classic.
Carpets,
purposeful.
They're not thick carpets and they're not expensive carpets, but when you touch them, rub your hands across them, they actually feel kind of plush.
Yeah, they do. Ooh,
There's something, don't they?
They've got something about them. Maybe they're made of moleskin.
That's a lot of moles.
But it's that classic functional Porsche interior.
It's not that functional.
Well, not that functional.
Have you seen
if
the
want to
size
get
of
in the back? No.
Exactly.
Have you ever sat in the back of one of these?
No, I don't think I'd be able to. Not without both of the seats firmly forwards.
No.
I mean, I've seen bigger seats in go-karts.
Yeah, it's for children, really.
It is, yeah, very small ones. All their dolls.
I don't think I want to spend a lot of time in the back of that anyway.
No, not at all. I'd want to be in the front where I've got control of the big steering wheel in front of me.
Yes, of course.
And the quadrant pedals. That's where I want to be.
And the fast pedal.
And the other place I want to be is just have a little pier. Oh.
I see, I know where that popper is. So the boot popper on the 911 is always in the same place. Passenger door top.
Because it was designed as the Germans.
And it was designed as a left-hand drive car.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to look under here.
It's always great, isn't it? And if you've got any of that sort of Porsche racing heritage in you anywhere, any information about that, it's all in there, isn't it?
This is going to make you very, very happy.
Yeah, the fan, the cooling fan, the cover over the engine, the cylinders are down the bottom there, horizontally opposed. It's very cool.
So this is like a conversion.
This is a conversion.
This is a conversion. This is a hell of a conversion. Normally there'd be a ginormous airbox here, and all of these intakes are not like that at all. So I don't know whose conversion this is, but this is something which makes it look like it's been built for the racetrack. Plus, we seem to have a ginormous coil pack down here as well. So we've now got electronic ignition, going to a coil pack. The whole of the induction system has been removed. There's generally a sort of AC going on as well, but I don't know.
Well, normally this at this age it would have a mechanical injector which worked from airflow going through, being sucked through the air cleaner. Had a sort of an up and downy type
flappy thing.
Yeah.
So it's that's the Bosch system. It's called Jetronic or something. They also use that sort of thing on Ford CVHs.
Did they?
Yeah, and on the Golfs and injection Golfs. Yeah, it was used quite widely.
Yeah.
It was a good system. It was fraught with problems. To get rid of that and go to these monoblock constructions here.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, these throttle bodies James has put on.
Throttle bodies. That was the word I was looking for.
And it injects right down the bottom, as close as it possibly can to the inlet valve.
Inlets.
And I think these stacks. I mean, when you used stacks on racing carburetors, it's to balance the air, isn't it? To stop the turbulence in the air, to get it at a higher velocity when it goes in.
Yeah.
And I suppose they do the same thing.
Well, you've got a completely straight through draft down to where it needs.
Yeah.
So that's all nice. That's a really nice upgrade, and it also gives a lot more room in the engine bay. Takes away that great big air filter that was in there before, so you can actually see the engine.
Yeah.
Now, these engines are simple yet complicated. Do you know if he's had the top end rebuilt on this? Because they're widely known for doing in the valves, tappets, and guides.
Yes, I think he has. I think James was telling me about that before, and I think that's something that's been done on this. But they're a simple engine to take apart, aren't they? That's the wonderful thing about it. Separate cylinders, separate heads.
Yes, and there lies the problem. And I'm glad you said simple to take apart, because, they come apart really easily. So I was putting one of these back together not that long ago. Separate cylinders, separate heads, and then there's a great big cradle that goes on top of the whole lot that holds the camshaft, right? And the nuts that hold the heads and the cylinders down also hold this jobber on as well.
So they retain the cam?
They retain the cam. And it quite clearly says in the Porsche instruction manual on how to put your engine back together, you tighten up all your torque settings on all your head bolts, which go through this tower block, okay? And then you slide your cam in with a bit of oil on the bearings and rotate it. And if it doesn't run correctly, that means that how the heads of the cylinders and this top casing have all pulled together haven't quite gone flat. So what you do is you untorque the whole lot and try it in a different pattern. And if that doesn't work, try a different pattern.
Wow.
And if that doesn't work, we'll keep on going until you find the best. And then eventually, the whole lot's sat flat. So, yes, it's good.
Interesting. I didn't know that about
it's proper. Cam. It's like what people were called old-fashioned English engineering, that file to fit. It works really well for those who know how to do it and they're patient enough.
Yeah, patient enough, I suppose. The thing I love about this engine, though, is like with, I know we were talking about Beetles before, but it's going to come out, isn't it? It comes out relatively easily, and I love the idea of that. Being able to do that, being able to do those sort of things on a car yourself would mean that it's just another reason why this car would be staying with me if I owned it and not going anywhere. And I assume that's probably the same with James, because he does all his own maintenance. He's a very, very clever, I'm going to say lad, he's not a lad, he's a man. But you know what I mean, compared to me. But my age and his age, but he's
mental age, physical age. There's a worlds apart. I know that pulling the engine out of this is not quite pulling the engine out of a Beetle, which apparently people can do in like less than 60 seconds.
We did it, 4 bolts. Do you remember we did it?
Oh, we did, yeah. But it took us more than 60 seconds, didn't it?
It did, but it was still only 4 bolts.
It was. That is right. Yes, that is very, very, very true.
But I'm not saying that this is that. It's old school, but it's sort of cutting-edge old school.
Yeah.
It's compared to your normal everyday driver. In 1978, this is a rocket ship. This is the cutting edge of technology, automotively.
Yes.
In a rather bizarre setup that shouldn't work, but it all works,
Yeah, yes, it does. I think today is still a highly desirable thing. And I love it. It's been really nice to be able to walk around this car, hasn't it?
Yeah, really nice. It's been a real pleasure, and it's lovely of him to have brought it down as well.
So in a sort of like conclusion, what are we going to say?
That of course you'd keep this car.
It's a kit, yeah.
But and also you probably wouldn't invest in major surgery, because it's going to be making money while you're enjoying it, isn't it?
Yeah, and if that's the angle you want to come at it from, then there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a lovely car to be able to... It's quite rattly when you do that.
Yeah.
I think it's that plasticky bit.
It is that. In fact, that's broken as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Well, that's it.
Thanks to James.
Yeah, thanks to James. Yeah. Thanks for everyone for listening.
Thanks to Porsche for producing such a fantastic, beautiful car, iconic piece in guard red.
Let's not forget. If anyone wants to get in touch with us, they can get in touch with us via Instagram.
If you've got an interesting car, which maybe you want to sort of talk about it, and we'll give it our appraisal on whether it's something we could or would flip on Flipping Bangers. That doesn't mean we're offering to come and buy cars. It means we want to come and look at cars and talk about cars.
And just talk about them, eat some of your biscuits, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
It'll be a pleasure.
All right.
Cheers.
See you. Thanks very much, everyone. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
The Flipping Bangers podcast features Gus Gregory and Will Trickett, is produced by Dan Allum, and is a Just Mike Teeley production. International copyright is asserted. All opinions are personally held. Audio engineering is by Stephen O'Toole. We've used a sample of music composed by Tatimi and Lenny B at Upbeat. If you'd like to get in touch, please visit justmight.tv or chat to us via Instagram at Flipping Bangers. Thanks for listening.